Happy Thursday, everybody. Sorry about the boring intro we have. We are working on the intro right now. Give us a few weeks. We'll have a cool one up here. My name is Jonathan Sawyer. My buddy here, Mike DeSanto, is with me. We should have Jamie P here. We told him 8 p.m. We should have told him 7 p.m. But how's it going, Mike?
It's going well. The weather has been cooperative up here in upstate New York. Although it's supposed to get hot today, but I'm doing well because sports are still among us. How are you?
Yeah, bro. Like I thought the same thing. Like I was like, oh man, NHL, NBA's over. Okay, so now it's just baseball, which I love absolutely.
Yeah,
but but it's been a crazy few days in NBA and NHL with signings and everything like that. So it's been a great sports week. I mean, I'm excited for the summer, especially because we're going to be rolling right into NFL. So definitely going to be something interesting.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely kicked off a lot faster of an off season than I think we're used to, especially like you said in the NBA and even like the NHL. I mean, we've got the draft in like a week
or so. Next week.
So that's which is kind of crazy that the finals just ended for hockey and now we're having a draft.
Yeah, I think I think next season when it's like funny with the COVID, it's finally like coming back to normal now. So which the NBA ended and NHL ended in June. Now it's going to probably get back to normal scheduling, which is cool. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Oh, and shout out my wife for the awesome new memorabilia to the squad. It's a neon light she got me for my birthday. So yeah, shout out my wife. Hope you're having a great night, honey. Love you.
Aww.
Oh, stop. So, Mike, we got a full show.
We do.
Before we run through the lineup of our show, actually, let's run through the lineup. We got NHL. We got NBA free agency. We got a little bit of MLB talk because there's been a little bit of rumblings going on.
Yeah.
And then we have, of course, Stump the Duo.
Yeah.
Duo? Are we a squad if we're just two?
If there's just two people?
I think so. I mean, screw it. We're a squad. We're squadding up. But, man, what you sipping on tonight?
Oh, our classic opener, what you sipping on? Well, tonight, because it is a Thursday, and this is a Thursday unlike last week where I do have to work, we're just rocking a Coke.
Oh.
Yeah,
nice just carbonated beverage.
Nice carbonated beverage to get us woken up because, night shift.
Get
woke, everybody out there. But, John, what you sipping on today?
3 weeks in a row. Got to go with my Trulies.
Truly, you have found a drink.
Yes, I have. My watermelon kiwi. You know what I hate about them though? Is the fact they always come in a variety pack. I can never get them as in like my favorites are blueberry and this one. And I would just like the blueberry and I would just like this one. But I can never find them. It's crazy.
So if you could get a 12 pack of blueberry and then a 12 pack of the watermelon.
Yeah, I would easily. 100%. But I think you can order from the site. Yeah.
I mean that might be the way to go, is just kind of going through them, but
yes, sir. But yeah, I mean, we got to play. I mean, man, it's been like we said, it's been a crazy week of sports so far. I mean, baseball, the All-Star voting is coming in, and the Yankees keep rolling, bro. I mean, we got to talk Yankees because that's our squad, and there's no one else here. So let's talk about. Let's talk Yankees right now. So they are killing it, man. They swept they swept the A's. They took two. They
split a 4-game with Houston,
and now they're down 2-1. And Giancarlo just singled up the right field. Man, it's very fun seeing the Yankees good again. I don't know about you, but this brings me back to early 2000s when I used to be like, let's get it. 100-win season every year. Let's get it.
Yeah, we're going to win. We're always going to win. Yeah, no, I think it was weird because there was a lot of questions coming into the season, especially at catcher, because, most fans had kind of resigned themselves, and the organization had kind of resigned themselves to the fact that Gary Sanchez needed to go one way or another. He wasn't
100%.
He wasn't. I mean, he'd have games where he'd hit he'd go 3 for 4 with 2 home runs. And then he'd spend the next 3 or 4 games striking out 3 times a game.
Yeah, but you can't do that once a month.
Oh no, no, exactly. And the upside when they brought him up in the first couple of years, like the upside was so high because power bat behind the plate, good arm, don't run on it. That was always the thing, even as a rookie. It was like don't run on him because he's got a cannon back there. But just the struggles were there. So it was a question of, is Kyle Higashioka, is he ready to take over the starting spot? He seems more like a backup. And who's this Jose Trevino guy? And Jose Trevino has been a godsend at catcher.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, he's been killing it, and I thought he was a first baseman at first, and I was like, damn, we got another first baseman more. Yeah. But to see him come in and play the way he has, I think Higashioka and Trevino have been leading over the whole saga of Gary Sanchez, and I wish the best for Gary at the end of the day. I hope he does get it together. He just has that nonchalant. I don't think he can play nonchalant. That's my biggest thing.
No, he can't.
He doesn't have any energy behind him. Where I think Higashioka and Trevino don't either, but they don't. The spotlight's not all over them. They don't need the spotlight. Exactly. But speaking of spotlight, I mean, could you believe the Freddie Freeman outgoing this week with the firing of the man? And it happened the series after he left Atlanta. I was talking to you earlier this week, and I was like, "What is going on here? Is Freddie Freeman gonna opt out of his contract and go to back to the Braves and resign? What the heck?"
That's the crazy thing. Has been so he seemed to love it. The first month and a half of the season, he seemed to love playing in LA. He's been God knows, the Dodgers needed another all-star on their roster. Yeah, he's been a great player for them. He's a great baseball player, but he got to Atlanta, and before the first game, obviously, as they do with guys that leave the team, they gave him his ring, gave him a tribute because he'd been with the organization for so long, and just the raw emotion of Freddie Freeman coming back to Atlanta is I just sat back and watched it, and I was like, yeah, he never wanted to leave. Ever.
Yeah, he never did.
And it's interesting, the stuff that's come out, and yeah, it's I don't think it's any coincidence that he chooses to switch his agent the moment that series ends.
Not even switch his agent. He fired his agent.
Yeah,
I gotta switch it up real quick because we got our third member here that made it a squad. It was almost a stump the duo tonight.
Yeah.
Here comes Grandpa Jay. What up, bro? How you doing?
What up?
What up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Pretty good.
I know y'all probably talked about what you're sipping on. I got my Florida man in my hand tonight, so
let's get it. Let's get it.
Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers.
We talking Freddie Freeman and how he fired his agent and now is representing himself.
Yeah.
That is crazy to me. And especially the series, it happened the day after they finalized their series in Atlanta. And I thought
weird things. There are a lot of weird things that came out of it, right? They said during the time, as soon as he got there, he spent a lot more time on that side of the field. It seemed as though he was nostalgic. The Dodgers the players themselves found it to be a little bit odd. His agent has now come out and said that he's not going to stand by these false accusations of the Braves perpetuating this narrative. It's weird that Freeman would fire him, even though he seems like he's defending him, saying these are false statements. You guys are definitely hearing wrong. Somebody's just throwing info out there. Yeah. Here's my thing, right? Why would you want to leave the Dodgers at this point? I mean, if you've decided to make that decision to leave the Braves, and the Braves seem to be playing great without you, and of course they welcome their hero back. I mean, he's a hero in the city of Atlanta.
Of course,
finally bringing a ring to them after so long.
Yeah.
I could understand what part of him may feel like I prefer this clubhouse, but as a baseball player who's moved on and now it's time to get your retirement money, and LA seems like to be the hands-on favorite to win the NL anyway, this is confusing to me. I mean, I don't know what you guys have already spoke about, but this just seems really odd and confusing.
We've gotten at a real high level. I mean, it wasn't really in depth. And what I said to Mike earlier, I talked to Mike earlier about this week, and I always, from the day one when free agency hit, when he signed with the Dodgers, and the reason why he didn't even listen when I heard that the Braves weren't even in the running, or the Braves didn't even have a conversation with him, struck me as very odd. Yep. Very weird, because how are you going to be with a team and organization that believed in you that long and not listen to them? And then when this all came out, it all made sense. It's like full circle. Like, I was like, okay, so this makes sense. I agree with you. Why would you want to leave the Dodgers? But also, I mean, they are the defending champs, so they're going to defend. I know the Mets are playing really good ball in the East, but they're going to play. They're going to ultimately contend like they did last year. So I just thought it was very weird. Like, okay, so and then Mike and I looked at the contracts, and the agent ultimately did him a favor, because after Mike, well, like at the end of his contract, Mike, you can explain it.
So yeah, there's about 40. The way his contract is structured is, I mean, Jay, are you familiar with Bobby Bonilla from the Mets?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the forever paid Bobby Bonilla.
Tomorrow's his day.
Yeah, tomorrow's his day. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day for those of you that are watching on July 1st or after. It's essentially structured like that, but smartly for the organization. So it ends when he's 38, and from that year, from the following season up until 2040, so I believe it's 12 seasons. 2028 to 2040, there's $47 million of his contract deferred to them.
Okay.
So he'll get paid, and we did the math, around 4 point something until he's 50.
4.75 a year from 2028 to 2040.
His agent did a good job with the contract, but if Freddie said, "Why isn't the Braves listening to me?" Because ultimately, you should be your own person and everything, but that's why you pay these guys a lot of money,
right?
And everything, to ultimately say, okay, so I want to talk to my former team. They don't want to talk to you. Okay,
right.
So I think that's what probably happened, is he got together with a lot of the Braves players, a lot of the teammates, and they basically were like, or got with some of the execs and were like, man, I wish I could have stayed. Well, yeah, your agent didn't entertain us. He didn't ever call us back, never email. And he's like, what are you talking about? I asked him to. And then that's how this whole thing got unveiled.
Yeah. And what happened was, this came out, I think it was last night or this morning. It came out that specifically the agent never told Freeman about the Braves' final offer before the Dodgers, to compare to the Dodgers.
Okay.
So as far as I understand it, as far as Freddie knew, the Braves stopped at 140 at 140 million over 5 years. So he was like, well, between that, obviously they don't want to pay me versus the Dodgers deal. So he took the Dodgers deal when he didn't know that the Braves were willing to up their offer. Still wasn't as much as the Dodgers, but the question now is out there. In hindsight, like, we can only speculate at this point, would Freddie have taken the advanced deal if he wanted to stay in Atlanta versus the Dodgers deal?
It's tough to see. It's like what if game type of thing, because maybe Freddie was already in LA in the sense of mindset. It's hard to kind of pull that out of there. So, I mean, ultimately, you can't make that. You can only speculate at this point.
You can only guess what he would have done.
I mean, and speaking about like free agency and everything, have you guys seen the NBA free agency over the last few hours? It's been nuts. Some of the deals I'm seeing. Bradley Beal
got actually happy NBA free agency day today and tomorrow is when we're going to see all sorts of crazy stuff happening, right? So
Bradley Beal got $50 million a year.
Yeah, 50, which basically puts him as the highest paid player per season right now.
He's higher than Steph. What the hell?
It's crazy, right?
So allow me to run down some of the deals we're looking at.
Yes,
okay,
please.
Go for it.
So I don't know who Anthony Gill is, but he has a 2-year deal with the Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
But the 76ers and
Way to build that roster, guys. Way to build that roster.
Yeah, exactly. The 76ers and PJ Tucker have a 3-year, $33.2 million deal.
That's way more than Waze deserves. Way more.
Juan Toscano Anderson is leaving Golden State and going to the Lakers.
Damn. That was the key part of the championship.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
JaVale McGee has a 3-year deal in Dallas.
No, that's a good signing for Dallas. They needed a
how does JaVale McGee keep getting these contracts though? Like,
because
he don't do anything.
He won with the Lakers. He won with Golden State. He should have won with Phoenix. Like, he goes to teams that have been making the finals. It's not really because of JaVale McGee, but he's a great person to have off the bench where big men have
experienced.
Like this draft brought in a lot of big men that may change the game, but yeah, he knows how to play in those big game situations.
Yeah.
He knows how to calm the nerves. He's like Udonis Haslem.
Exactly.
Well, Udonis Haslem from about 5 years ago.
I'm saying like
now
mental play, like coaching wise.
Yeah. The Lakers have a 1-year vet minimum contract with Troy Brown Jr. That's actually not bad. He's 22.
Yeah, that's weird.
Let's see. Harden's meeting with the Sixers over the weekend.
Yeah, that's. I expect that contract to be north of 60.
Yeah.
Yep.
If Bradley Beal got 50.
Now that Beal got Nick Claxton's back with the Nets for 2 years at $20 million.
Okay.
Weird.
The Lakers are signing Lonnie Walker IV to a 1-year, $6.5 mid-level exception.
He sounds like a cornerback in the
Lonnie
NFL.
Walker IV.
The Lakers. Here's the thing: the Lakers can only make small moves unless they get a sign and trade deal with Westbrook, and they won't because he's due $47 million this year, I think.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that just came out that Woj came out with is that Kyrie will only entertain the Lakers as a trade option, which is weird.
And he can't. So he's staying in Brooklyn. But how about KD's agent saying we're looking to shop him, which is what ownership and the general management has agreed in the Nets. And your Miami Heat seem like the front runners next to the Phoenix Suns right now.
We're opening up cap space because we weren't going to pay PJ Tucker almost $11 million a year, and then we can dump Duncan, who I've been saying we should. We can dump Tyler Hero, who had a great year. I like Tyler Hero, but he had a great year and he's good trade bait. Especially, would you rather have KD or Tyler Hero? Come on now.
Well, you're throwing away your two best 3-point shooters to bring in one KD. Like, is that smart? If you throw away Duncan,
100%, bro, 100%.
Okay,
100%.
And KD gets hurt, and now what? You have no shooters.
We got Jimmy Butler. He can make layups.
Get out of here.
Maybe you can teach Bam to.
Jamie must be tired because me and him got into a little scrap earlier, and I think he's tired because he didn't come at me there, and that's why I was all fired up. Everyone was probably like, "Oh, John's a bad guy in this situation." He's coming at Jamie.
I'm just saying right now, I would not drop two young players who have at least up until this year stayed healthy enough. I have no idea why they bench Duncan, and nobody knows why they bench him for most of the playoffs. Two-time MVP deserved his 264. I think the way it's structured is right about like he starts at 32 mil. Jokic, he starts at 32.5 this year, and he ends up with 59 or something in the last year of it. So it just keeps like climbing up it goes from 32 up to 60, which is crazy, right? It's a crazy thing to think that they're getting paid less when they're going to be most productive, and then the contract peaks when they're going to be probably least productive 5 years from now. It's really weird how they structure these deals.
But that's what they do. That's why they do it, though.
Yeah.
What's weird is like the fact that, Booker signs that massive deal as well. I think Mike was just alluding to that. And then all of a sudden, now we hear about, KD is only going to listen to the Heat in the Suns. Yep. And that could be interesting because that could be a package deal with DeAndre Ayton and Booker. That's the best. Miami and I don't know how they would move. Ultimately, they picked up Russell Westbrook's option, so they could trade Russell to Brooklyn with Anthony Davis, and that would be the package option, right? So, and then you bring in a big that's low minimum. I don't know if you're the Lakers. I wish Trey was here because I know he would chime in immediately.
Oh, yeah.
But the question is like you're essentially, even in that deal, you are substituting your problems.
Yep.
Not really.
You have an Anthony Davis that you can't trust to stay on the court. You have Russell Westbrook, who, doesn't seem to be the player of old, although in Brooklyn, maybe as the number one option, he might play up, completely up to standard. But as the Lakers, you're bringing in Kyrie, who you can't trust to stay on the court.
Yep.
Yeah,
because he's non-committal. It's essentially like you're through the Nets, you're getting rid of a guy that you can't trust because he's non-committal for a guy that you can't trust because he's hurt. And if you're Lakers, it's vice versa.
So, I get the KD injury factor, but do you feel that I feel like this is part of sports ultimately, is that when teams are playing well, it seems like injuries are very, slim to none. When they're all connecting at the same time and playing well, it seems like injuries just seem to be very low. And the reason why is because they ultimately are going to play through those injuries. Would KD have played through those injuries if they had a better chance and a better team this year? Would he have fought through those? I don't think the whole Kyrie situation. I agree with you on that, but there's KD. Ultimately, play through his injuries instead of sitting on the bench. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
But I think if you're the Nets at this point with your situation, I would not trade for Anthony Davis because of that.
Yeah,
because of that. Because if you're getting rid of KD, what incentive is AD gonna have? Is AD gonna have to fight through his injuries?
It's almost like contract matches up. Right. That's the only thing that would make sense to that deal. Because like we said, the speculation sounds great, but if the contract doesn't match up, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? That's why I said Ayton, they're trying to shop, and Booker, I don't think is happy. So why not just those are two even trades right there almost.
Right.
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry, I cut you off. We cut you off on a tangent.
No, you're good. Just a little few more of the deals. Jalen Brunson is meeting with the Knicks as we speak.
No, he already signed.
Did he sign?
Yep.
I haven't.
110 million or something like that. Yeah.
He signed with the Knicks.
110 over 4 years.
Okay.
So Stephen A. finally got his point guard. He's been griping about the Knicks did nothing in the draft. Is that why they were looking to sign somebody?
They didn't want it. They were freeing up money. That's why they traded Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks. They wanted to free up money for Patty Mills going back to the Nets. Malik Monk is going to get paid $19 million over 2 years to go lose in Sacramento.
It's weird, right? It's like people leave LA to go to Sacramento. That's weird.
Yeah. Nick Batum continues to get contracts. He's in LA now for the Clippers.
That's actually a good signing for them. He's actually probably the better one I've heard you say. How about Anthony Simmons getting a 4-year, $100 million deal with the Trailblazers? One of the youngest guys drafted a couple of years ago.
That's good.
Kind of proved himself. That's a big contract for him.
Yeah.
Lakers brought in Damian Jones.
Yeah. It's all small deals for them at this point.
Joe Ingles is going to Milwaukee.
All they can do is play small ball. That's it.
It hopes to compete.
Joe Ingles going to Milwaukee.
That's good. That's a good move from Milwaukee.
That's a great pickup for Milwaukee, actually.
Yeah, that's a good move. It's a veteran help, and then ultimately it's a shooter.
A shooter. So if Middleton goes down like he has for the past 3 postseasons, they got someone who could shoot.
That's interesting.
What's that?
So on NBA Today, I don't know if you guys saw what Brian Windhorst said on NBA Today this morning or this afternoon. He's reported league executives have floated the idea that if the Nets trade Durant and Kyrie together, it's the Lakers.
Yeah, I heard that. That's why I said the Lakers. That's why I said that's the Lakers.
What do you mean it's the Lakers? You mean it's a 3-team deal where Durant goes somewhere else?
No, I think it would be
them together.
I think it would be like a 3-team deal, but those two end up there. Someone ends up there, and I don't know how the 3-team.
Bro, they cannot take on both of those contracts and LeBron and Westbrook and AD.
It would probably involve AD and Westbrook.
There'd be 5 players on the team.
That's it.
Well, guys, you gotta play.
And 2 of them can't stay healthy, so it's gonna be a 5-on-3 for like half the season.
And one of them might not even play, so maybe just LeBron out there versus 5. Kyrie's I don't want to play.
Yeah, it's like the narrative. LeBron finally gets to prove his greatness.
LeBron pouring sweat. Yeah. What do you mean?
It's like the Dave Chappelle skit where he says if LeBron decided to change his gender and went to WNBA, he scored 860 points a game.
Hey, are we talking about big money splashing around? You guys hear that they approved for the Oakland A's waterfront park at a $12 billion price tag? That with a B, $12 billion
in Las Vegas, right? In Las Vegas, right?
No, in Oakland.
In Oakland.
Oh, I thought because I heard they were open to the MLB has granted. I heard last week that they granted them approval to move if they wanted to.
But that's what I thought. But then when you sent me that article about them looking to expand with 2 teams, I figured instead of taking Oakland out of the mix, they're just going to expand this. Vegas being one new team, and I'm not too sure who the other market's going to be at this moment. But Vegas would definitely be one.
Montreal probably another one.
I don't know if they bring Canada. I don't know if they bring another Canadian team back into it.
They should. Expos should have never lost a team.
I mean, let's see. We got Vegas. I mean, that's a good topic to talk about. I mean, honestly, because like we could do Vegas. I mean,
Montreal,
Austin.
Austin, Texas would be good.
Why would they consider somewhere? They should. I mean, I guess the markets are too small, right? Like on the East Coast, you consider like a Tennessee or a Mississippi, but they're too small.
Charlotte.
I was going to say that was what I was going to say, Charlotte, because like there's surprisingly no Carolina teams out above like
Jacksonville,
AA, or maybe AAA. But like the thing is like that's also but the Carolinas are a hotbed in the summer for college teams, like college league teams,
like summer ball. Yeah, that's true. I mean, like you would do Jacksonville. I mean, you can do, because like they already have a football team. You know, I'm thinking teams with already professional teams already.
Other pro teams
Salt Lake City.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like Charlotte. Okay, they got the Panthers and they got the Hornets. So now like they don't have to. I mean, I guess
and the Hurricanes. I mean, they'll complete them, right? So yeah.
Well, Carolina's in Raleigh, but yeah, I get you.
True. Yeah.
But it's
Portland, Oregon.
Portland.
It puts a team closer to Seattle, which actually could improve the Seattle market because you could get players wanting to play there because like a large consideration of playing in Seattle is guess what? The closest team you get to travel to normally is the Angels. In California. So you essentially have to fly everywhere.
San Fran's a little closer, right? If they go interleague, San Fran, but you're right, it's not that.
If they go interleague, but for your division, But think about your division. You have to go to the Angels or Oakland, but then you have to go to Texas
Oakland would be the closest
teams.
Yeah, true. That's true.
So it would improve that. I feel like adding a team in Portland would improve that market. Plus, Portland actually does have a history of baseball. So, but yeah, it's interesting.
You know, it was really interesting this weekend watching, our Yankees, dominate.
Of course.
Is the fact they had like such a crazy series.
Cut me out. Put me on mute.
All right. So it was a crazy.
It was too.
It was a crazy series. They had a walk-off, blown lead on Saturday, a no-hitter, and another walk-off on Monday or Sunday.
Yeah.
So it was like walk-offs were crazy because they got their first hit in the first inning and their second hit in the ninth inning or something.
Right, exactly.
Nobody else but the Yankees can win with this scenario.
So let me ask you guys something. So would you rather hit for the cycle, thinking about hitting wise, or would you rather pitch a no-hitter?
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, they're both like pretty rare accomplishments.
I believe there's been a couple more no-hitters than there have people who hit for the cycle, or is it the other way around?
I would imagine it's actually more no-hitters than it is cycle.
But they're very similar. They're in the 320 to 30 range for both. Like the numbers are really close. But here's my thing, right? Every night, 30 players get an opportunity to pitch a no-hitter, but 250 plus hitters get a chance to hit for the cycle. So the probability of the no hitter is a lot less because there's always a lower probability and it can happen from a number standpoint, right? And also with the way the game is going now and the way there's pitch counts and you're preserving players and you have to make sure that you're managing and the game's more seen from a standpoint of how can we manage it from a numbers as opposed to a field thing. I mean, I've seen people pull this year, 2 or 3 pitchers pull going into the 8th inning after the 7th on a no-hitter. Why? Well, because analytics said so. That never would have happened in Nolan Ryan's day or in the times where pitchers were allowed to.
I hate that shit.
Go ahead and pick the game up. So to me, it's like because the way the game is being managed now, I feel like the cycle is definitely harder. I mean, the no-hitter is definitely harder, but the cycle, I mean, that's considered a perfect game as a hitter, right? How often it's perfect.
Right. You have to get everything perfect to hit for the cycle, pretty much. You have to hit it to the right part of the field every time.
Yep.
So Jamie, you're saying hit for the cycle is harder.
Yeah, because at least with a no-hitter, you have guys making amazing plays on your behalf to preserve that. But as a hitter, it's on you to do it all. And hopefully with a pitching change, that pitcher favors a matchup for you as well. And that's a luck of the draw thing because you're a lefty and you got a lefty and you're like, well, crap, all I have to do is hit a triple now. but then they changed the pitcher. He went from righty to lefty, and it's highly unlikely. So they have to deal with more scenarios in game. The pitcher gets into a groove, and I feel like at some point, you're feeling it, and the players start to feel it, and you see the hustle, and you see the determination, and you see the will for them to do it for their pitcher. The cycle, you're on an island on their own. Even though the probability is higher, I think hitting for the cycle is harder.
But the thing is like, the no hitter though is seen as like a bigger accomplishment, because if you look at how
100%.
it's celebrated,
100%.
a graphic you hit for the cycle, a graphic gets thrown up, people clap, standing ovation, stuff like that. A no hitter, people celebrate like you won the World Series.
Oh yeah, like they go nuts.
So Mike, you saying the no hitters harder?
I would say I would probably rather throw a no hitter. I think the cycle's harder to do.
So that's a good thing. I'm not saying what's harder. Jamie, what would you rather do? Throw a no hitter or hit for the cycle?
Oh, so you're saying if I was a player, I don't know which one's harder. Mike brings up a great point that like that no hitter is such exclusive company, because the probability is so low for it to happen, that I would definitely lean towards that side as well. But how exciting would it be that it's like the bottom of the ninth and you have to hit a home run to win the game for your team to get the cycle? From an excitement factor, I think I would like to be the hitter that does that. But from a historic factor and how much it really is like seen as this huge deal in baseball, I'd go for no hitter.
So you were right on the closeness. There's been 317 total no-nos in the baseball, and there's been 338 hit for the cycle. So,
but look at the numbers, right?
It's
and
close.
Every night is 30 against 200 and whatever, maybe 300 batters if you have DHs included. So it's 10 times higher that it may happen that you hit for the cycle, because there's always 10 times more hitters than there are pitchers. You take into the fact that it could be a combined no-no. But okay, so what do you think about the combined no-no? Is that really a no-no?
No.
Yeah, as a team, I don't think you can give it to
a team, but like the Astros had a combined no-no on Sunday or Saturday. I'm sorry.
Christian Javier would have finished it. As a side note, but
I think honestly, like the no hitters. What I think is harder. I think the no hitter is harder because it is such an it's an individual, but it's also a team too. So you're also relying on a guy to catch a ball. If a ball gets hit to deep, center, and they're tracking it down, they could trip, fall, and then there it goes, or whatnot. I feel like you have a better opportunity to hit for the cycle if you're on, like if you're seeing the ball and it looks like a beach ball, you can hit for the cycle. I mean, obviously, there's a few factors that play in this cycle, right? So a single and a double happen pretty much every game,
right?
A home run happens, probably every other game or every other game, let's just say. The biggest factor of that whole cycle is a triple.
Oh, 100%.
How,
that's the hardest.
That's the hardest. You got to have the perfect, like, hit into the corner.
You got to hit it into the gap. It's got to run down the gap. The fielder has to maybe even make a miscue. And you have to have speed. Like, you got to make sure the burners on.
There has to be a shift on, at least a little bit of a shift. So, like, the center fielder and the right fielder are so far apart from the ball that it takes them a minute to get to the ball.
The most likely scenarios in a close game scenario, someone's on second, they're getting ready to score, and you make that throw into home, and it gives the runner a chance to advance to third. So, because the play is to home plate, so you have more time and you're buying more time, right? So, like, to me, like, there's certain scenarios that have to be there for it to happen, too.
Yeah, and I don't care how fast you are. You have to be hustling to get a triple. You have to be. Like, you can't jog a triple, no matter what.
Who's the dude from Pittsburgh, though?
Has Manny Ramirez ever hit it? Because he used to jog everything. Did Manny ever?
I don't. Hold on. I'm going to find Manny Ramirez triples, but the guy from Pittsburgh?
He's 6'5".
Oh,
he runs. Yeah, he runs. They said he hits like Aaron Judge. He throws like Max Scherzer. And he runs like Tyreek Hill.
What?
So
yes, he's nuts, dude.
The dude picked
Who is this?
The other O'Neal.
He's like 6'5", 6'6",
and he's like
O'Neal Cruz,
and he's like 20.
Wow.
Yeah, so he'll be a Yankee. He'll be a Yankee next year because.
Most likely. Or a Swak. Yankee or a Swak.
Or
Yankee, Dodgers, or Swak.
Or Ray.
No, he won't be Ray. Not with Wander Franco. But no, he picked it at short the other day, and he's a shortstop. He picked it at short the other day and threw it 97 to first.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is he Cuban or Dominican?
I want to say
he's Irish.
He's Irish.
Nice one. We'll go with Irish. Irish for the win.
We'll go with Irish. He is Dominican. He's listed at 6'7".
Good old proud boy.
23.
Give me a pint.
He debuted like 2-3 weeks ago. He's already hitting 268 with 2 homers and 11 RBI.
So all of us decided cycle. Is that what we would prefer?
No, I prefer to throw. No.
Sorry, no hitter. Sorry, none of us. I meant to say none of us decided on cycle. All of us went with no hitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, Manny Ramirez had 20 triples in 19 years.
Wow.
And they were all. He
was good for one a year. He was good for one a year.
So he probably got it earlier in his career when he was fast. When he was actually hustling.
Weirdly enough, the most he had in a season was 3. When he was 24 and 3 when he was 27, but he had 2 when he was 37.
Whoa. I bet you both of those were standing up triples too.
Oh yeah, it was he hit a bomb.
He ain't sliding at 37.
They all outfielders combined into each other, and he was just like, all right, I'm here.
I'll get there.
Manny, it took you 20 minutes. What the hell?
You should have. Yeah, the third base coach is sending him. No, I'm good here.
I'm good. I'm just going to stand up right here.
Yeah. Tell the next guy to hit a single.
So, yeah, I mean, I think the no-hitter's the hardest. I think I would rather throw the no-hitter. Jamie rather throw a no-hitter, and so would Mike. I wonder if Pat or Trey would like to – I want to hear their comments.
I think Pat would be a cycle.
For the cycle. He'd be a cycle.
Pat loves the long ball. He's always about chicks sticking the long ball. So.
Yeah, I was saying chicks sticking the long ball. You know what? You know what else is kind of makes no hitter more difficult than hitting for the cycle. Honestly, now that I think about it, is the amount of stress you put on your body doing it. The fact how many pitches, like over 100 pitches, you normally would have to throw a no hitter versus you double. Okay, especially if you're a DH, you double, go sit on the bench, get to rest, hit a single, sit on the bench, get to rest, hit your home run, get to rest, triple, and then you just you get time to sit there.
Yeah,
even if you're playing the field.
Honestly, I'd rather hit the home. I'd rather if I'm going for it,
hit the home run first.
I hit the home run early.
Yeah.
No. I hit the triple first. I have the most energy in the beginning
that's out
of the game.
Way. Yeah, it's out of the way.
The next one I hit a home run, like you said. Yeah,
I want
to end with double, and then the single.
Okay, so here's the deal, right? Here's the deal. Would you hold up at first base if you knew you can get to second?
Hell yeah. Screw that.
Well, the team.
Even if your team was down by 1, what if your team's down by 1 and you could put yourself in scoring position?
Someone else got to score. Can I have someone on first running to second for me so it's their double, not mine?
I'm
gonna stick with a single. You hit the double. I'll make it home.
Yeah, I like that.
And then don't get on the bus after the game when you're going to come home. So
that's when you hear about so and so had to take an Uber home because the bus left his backside in the locker room.
they pulled an Antonio Brown. Side note.
Who?
AB will never be mentioned again. That name will never be mentioned again on Cinco Squad. So I hope you guys enjoyed it for the one and only.
Him and his weird middle of the head flat top.
Yeah.
Well, speaking about rarity, our Tampa Bay Lightning were not able to pull off the three-peat.
Oh, Mike, put your hands down.
Put your hands down.
Don't put your hands up in the air. Thank you.
We were able to do the three-peat. But I give it a lot of credit to Colorado. They have fought over adversity over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
They clearly were the best team in hockey. I said it all year. Obviously, I was skeptical about the Lightning because John Cooper does a great job with the team, and it's good to see Nathan McKinnon get his ring and do it, the way they did it. I mean, they fought hard. I mean, the Lightning did too. I mean, there was one game in that series that was a blowout. I mean, really, that's it. The rest of the games were
back-to-back blowouts. Game 2 and Game 3 are blowouts both ways.
Yeah, but it was 1-goal games, weren't they?
No, it's 7-0, then 6-2.
Oh, 6-2. That's right.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but 2 overtime games, and then one game decided by one goal or 2 games decided by 1 goal. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more competitive. So
yeah, so I mean, shout out to the Lightning and everybody. I mean, the team's probably going to get broken up a little bit here in the offseason because, unfortunately, there was a lot of injuries, and I don't play that game. I don't play that whole thing, but I don't think people realize how much it wears on you. 3 straight seasons, mind you.
Yep.
It went from 2020 to 2021 season within less than 30 days.
Yep.
And then played 55 games, then went to the next season, played another playoffs. So they played almost 4 seasons worth of games. If you go to the playoffs. I mean, it's a wear and tear. Anthony Cirelli, Corey Perry, Bell Murray, Kucherov, Point. Stamkos was the one guy not on the injury report.
Yeah, weirdly enough.
He was the one guy.
That's right. He wasn't. Yep.
There was 8 guys on there with and most of them had shoulders, either dislocated shoulders or shoulder injuries, or
except
MCL.
For Point, right? Wasn't Point a knee?
Yes, that was Point and Kucherov and Cirelli were all MCLs. Which is weird to think that's the common injury. But
Point's lucky that it was just his MCL and not his entire knee going out because that was nasty.
Yeah, MCL over ACL any day.
So I mean, I just think they worn out. They ran out of gas, and it happened. It happened to Pittsburgh back in 2017, 2018 when they were going for the three-peat. And I don't even think they made the playoffs that year. But I said they're going to run out of gas. It's just a matter of time. It's a lot of games, a lot of wear and tear.
Didn't it happen to the Blackhawks too? Blackhawks went
yes. Well, that's the thing. You look at the Blackhawks and Kings during that whole thing. It would be the Hawks would win, almost miss the playoffs the next year. The Kings would win. They'd almost miss the playoffs, and the Blackhawks would win. So no, it happens. And going around hockey, that was the talk. Was okay at some point soon. Just by nature of the game and sports and all that, Tampa's going to run out of gas.
Correct.
2 straight years of just playing so many games, like you said, and the wear and tear of a physical game like hockey. I mean, the Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy to win in sports.
Yes, it is.
It just is.
Yep.
So 3 straight years of going to the finals, I commend Tampa for that. They're a hell of a team that was put together perfectly by the now Detroit Red Wings GM Steve Yzerman. So we'll see if Detroit can do that anytime soon.
We just stole Tampa's assistant coach as our new head coach.
I tell you what, right? You know they've been showing a lot of 30 for 30s back in the day. That rivalry with Detroit and Colorado and how nasty it was.
It was a real deal.
So imagine if Detroit kind of gets their act together and all of a sudden they're playing each other in the playoffs and they can
mind you,
it play each other in the finals.
Mind you, they were never. A lot of people didn't realize, but those games weren't. Remember, Detroit was in the Western Conference, so they were in the same conference.
Yeah,
and a lot of people didn't realize. Now it would be a great if Detroit could get their act together and we could get to the playoffs again. And then play Colorado in the finals. I would rekindle the rivalry big time. But
I'll tell you the thing, right? We spoke about this with Colorado, and a lot of the pundits said this team reminded them the most of the Lightning after they got swept by Columbus the year they were the top seed. It happened to Colorado last year, and they said sometimes that's the wake up call in the locker room to say, okay, when we get this opportunity again, because we know we have one of the best rosters in hockey, when we get this opportunity again. We know how to not approach the first round. And they were dominant in the first round. They were dominant in the conference finals. They seemed to be dominant for the first 2 games of the Stanley Cup until the champs obviously put up a little bit of a fight. But this team seemed to be a team of destiny this year, kind of like the Bolts were after that first round embarrassment. And sometimes you guys feel like that's what does it for you in an off season. Like you get embarrassed and you feel like there's no way we can do this again. And sometimes that's the fire you needed lit in order for you to make that championship run.
Yeah, especially because I was at those 2 games in Tampa, the first 2 games between the Blue Jackets and the Lightning, and to watch a team go up 3-0 and then totally blow the lead, just give up. They didn't show up for the second period. They didn't show up for the third period. They came out firing. The Amalie Arena was electric, bro. It was, you've been there. It was electric.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. And I was just like, they got this in the bag. And then all of a sudden, Bobrovsky decided. That's why I like anytime the Lightning played Bobrovsky in the playoffs, whether it was a Florida or other team. I forget what other team he's been on, but I was like, hold on, let's. They got Bobrovsky. He shut him out 4 straight games, and that's hard to do. So, but yeah, I agree with you. I think it's harder. I think it is harder once you get embarrassed. That sparks a little bit more. That makes you want to come back a little hungry, a little more pissed off. And whatnot.
Well, plus it forces you to not rest on your laurels from the regular season and really address your missing pieces and the holes you have in your roster. And it's a good getting kind of shut out like that, and sometimes blown out is a good way to really be shown exactly what you're missing or what your weaknesses are. Because somebody just spent 4 straight games exploiting that.
But, I'll tell you what, right? Like, listening to local radio here, the fans were very grateful. There weren't that many. Maybe one caller was disgruntled about it, and they kind of cut him off. Everybody else was very grateful for this run. I think they realized how unique it is. You're talking about first time in 40 years a team has had a legitimate chance of actually winning 3 in a row, where you figured they went in and you didn't know who the favorite was, even though everybody kept picking Colorado because health was a concern for the Lightning. So the fans knew how special this was. It was nice to hear that on radio coming off the loss.
Yeah,
of course, they would have loved that. They would have loved, obviously, to at least had a shot at it in Game 7. Would have been incredible. I think that would have been one of the best games of the entire playoffs, or who knows if it would have been an instant classic. But that was really nice to hear. And here's how we know Tampa's become a hockey town. Tickets to just be outside of the arena for the watch party were going for over $300 in Game 5.
And
Game
they
6.
sold it. And they sold it.
It sold out. Like, I think it was like first, I want to say somewhere around like 2,000 people or something, or 1,000 people, and they had to cap it at that.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It really is.
Congratulations, Tampa. You almost did it. Almost.
Yeah. Congratulations, Colorado, too.
Congrats, Cale Makar, by the way. The dude just won a Stanley in one season at 23 years old, won a Stanley Cup, the Norris Trophy, and the Conn Smythe.
Well, that's why I asked you guys, is he the best player in hockey? And you guys said, well, maybe best defensive man, but like this puts an argument on there. He could be one of the best players in hockey right now after a year like this.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I think he's definitely top 10 at this point.
We'll see next year.
I can't take it away from McDavid. It's just
Well, look, and here's all sports now. I think the offensive guy always gets the nod, right? If you're that guy that's scoring and we think the contribution is more visible from the offensive standpoint, we'll never respect the defensive contribution enough. Like, we could sit here and say maybe Aaron Donald's the best player in football until a quarterback like Josh Allen throws for 50 touchdowns. You're like, no way, hands down, it's Josh Allen. But Donald could be single-handedly taking the Rams to another repeat run.
Well, it happened with Khalil Mack.
Towards the quarterback. Huh?
It happened with Khalil Mack when he had that freaking dominant
100%.
season. And I think 100%. Brady won the MVP because he won the Super Bowl that year. Not that it's a regular season award, but I'm saying he won the regular season.
He was the quarterback of the best.
Khalil Mack hands down deserved it that year. I think he had maybe 20 sacks or something like that. Like, it was crazy.
That's the problem when you play for the Bears. So
I think it was with the Raiders before he left, actually.
Well, was it? Okay. Worse.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Exactly.
But I think it's time, gentlemen. I think we've reached that point. When we do
stop the squad. All right. So we've hit that point in the show where we pretend to know everything about sports just because we read it off our laptops, but you don't care, neither do we. So we are going to wager points, and we'll decide at the end of this little squad stumping part of the show who gets to do the rant of the week. So we get to wager 2 on 1. We each ask each other questions based on any sport that there is, and then whoever scores the highest at the end of this Stump the Squad rant will go on and rant about whatever they feel like. So, gentlemen, there's only 3 of us tonight, so there can only be one winner because the numbers are odd. So I will keep score. And how about I ask the first question this week?
Go for it, big dog. I'll go too.
All right. So since we finally gave baseball a lot of love, I say we stick to baseball this week.
Wait.
So here's my question to you guys.
Jay.
All right, to each. Who has hit the most home runs in the majors since 2018? Is it A, Mike Trout, B, Bryce Harper, C, Eugenio Suarez, or D, your boy, the Judgeinator, Aaron Judge?
The most home runs since 2018.
2018. Is it A, Mike Trout, B,
no.
Bryce Harper,
No.
C, Eugenio Suarez, or D, Aaron Judge?
It's Judge because Trout was out for most of the year.
Okay.
Harper was out a year.
Okay.
In that time frame,
Yeah.
I would say Judge.
Okay.
Against my better judgment, I'm actually going to say Harper.
Okay.
Because Judge had to see a full season where he only hit 29.
Okay.
Yeah.
So final answer: Judge for Mike and Harper. Well, who went with Judge? You went with Judge?
John went with Judge. I went with Harper.
And you went with Harper?
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I have stumped the squad this evening
It's
because
Suarez.
the winner is Suarez. Now listen to the numbers. These numbers are crazy, right? Mike Trout, 1,503 at bats, 132. Now here's why that's crazy. Bryce Harper, 2,043 at bats, 132. Okay. Eugenio Suarez, 2,088, so the most at bats amongst anyone here, 142, and Aaron Judge, 1,725 at bats, 131. So wow. Trout has 585 less than Eugenio Suarez, and he has 10 less home runs. So Trout would be way ahead. Like, he would be stratospherically ahead of everybody.
If he get hurt last year. Right. If he didn't get hurt last year, he'd be way harder than me.
He'd be way, like, this question would have been a no-brainer for you guys.
Yeah, 100%.
You guys are being stumped. So we got -2 for both of you.
Yeah.
So
moving on, I got you asking next, Mr. John.
All righty, boys. What do you got? 2?
2.
I got -2 each, and I got nothing.
What do you got?
I got 2.
I got 2. All right. So this is a Yankees question because you know. The 1998 Yankees, who won 114 games. Which pitcher led the team in wins?
Nice, Mike. You
was it Orlando Hernandez, aka El Duque, my favorite player? David Cohn, David Wells, or Andy Pettitte? Which pitcher led them in wins? El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, David Cohn, Andy Pettitte, or David Wells?
I want to say that's the year that Pettitte should have won the Cy Young, but he didn't. But for some reason, something is telling me that it's probably... Was it Wells and who? Who was the other day? You said David Wells or David?
Cohn.
Cohen? For some reason, I don't know why I think it's Cohen. You know what? I'm going to go with Cohen.
I was thinking Cohn, but actually, weirdly, I'm going to go with Wells. I'm thinking it's Wells.
Okay.
It's Pettitte, isn't it?
And I have successfully stomped the statistician of a lifetime, Michael DeSanto.
I got the Yankees question right.
Oh, my. You're gone, dude. I can't. Mike,
I got the Yankees question right. I love it.
If you didn't look it up, you wouldn't have known.
I did. I wouldn't have known either. It's actually funny because he had 20. Pettitte
I actually remember that.
He had 20.
Yeah.
Pettitte had 16. David Wells had 18. So you weren't off. And El Duque had 14. So, I mean, we had some dominant pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, there was...
No, you guys were ridiculous that year. Like, that year made no sense.
And yet, as a side note, that team does not hold the single-season wins record.
It's Seattle.
It's Seattle in 01 with 116.
Yeah, because they start just like you guys. Like you guys matched their record after what, like 65 games this year or something. You matched their record.
Mike, didn't Oakland
knocked them out in the first round,
and then we knocked out Oakland.
And then we knocked out Oakland
off Derek Jeter's flip.
Yep.
The flip play.
And then Arizona happened.
All righty, so it comes down to Jamie and myself.
Yep.
I put one person. Sorry.
It is what it is.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
I'll go for 2 to make it interesting.
I gotta go 2.
Yep. Okay, hold on, I'm pulling it up. Okay, gentlemen, I also went with a baseball question.
Go figure.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. What pitcher has the most wins in MLB history without ever winning a Cy Young?
Cy Young.
Most wins in MLB history without winning a Cy Young. Is it Randy Johnson, Whitey Ford,
I don't like these questions,
Nolan Ryan, or Cy Young?
Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Nolan Ryan. No, I can't. I can't go Nolan Ryan because if
he has the most strikeouts in history, and that's why I remember saying that he was cheated out of it 3 or 4 times. And obviously, it can't be Cy Young, and I know it's not Randy Johnson. So I'm gonna say it's Nolan Ryan.
You know what? I'm gonna go. Who has the most wins or strikeouts?
Most wins in MLB history without ever winning the Cy Young.
Oh my goodness. What a question. Oh my goodness. That's a question of the year right there.
Thank you to my Uncle Chris for giving me this question.
Uncle Chris, thank you for the win this week, by the way. I appreciate you.
Whitey Ford.
It's Nolan Ryan.
So these are final answers. Nolan Ryan for Jamie and Whitey Ford for John.
I'm not right.
Gentlemen, I have successfully stumped
it's Randy.
The squad.
It's Randy Johnson.
Guys, how can you win an award that's named after you?
I knew it, dude. I fucking said it.
The award didn't exist. Not to mention,
John, you said the answer at this. You even said it at the start. You were right from the start.
I'm an idiot, bro.
You have no idea.
I'm an idiot. So Mike gets this rant of the week for that.
You have no idea how much my spirit dropped when he said Cy Young, and I'm like, oh, he knows.
Oh, damn it, he knows already.
Not to mention, guys, Cy Young has the most wins in MLB history.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I said. Is like I didn't think he had the most wins, so that's what That's what was tripping me up.
Yeah, but I knew as soon as I dropped Nolan Ryan, that would flip everything.
Back to back, going back to back. You're gonna run out of gas next week like the Lightning.
Back. I love that's like 3 or 4 for me now. I'm crushing it now. Crushing it.
All right, Jamie.
All right,
Jamie's rant of the week.
Go. So unfortunately, NBA free agency is supposed to be a time of excitement, and most players are looking forward to taking that next step in their career. But Miles Bridges, what were you thinking? And I'm so sick and tired of hearing about domestic abuse cases amongst professional athletes and nothing being done to make anyone an example. It seems as though it gets brushed under the carpet every single time. And for any of our lady listeners out there, anybody that might be tuning in now, it's probably nobody, but if sometimes something comes around, listen, let me tell you something, all right? There's no reason for anybody to put their hands on anybody, man or woman, unless you're defending your life or you're defending your children's life. Right. So for this to still be an issue in this day and age among some of the biggest names in pro sports, it disgusts me. I don't understand why that's the reaction. A lot of the times people say, if you grew up that way and that was what you were accustomed to in your household, it's kind of like a genetic sort of disease in a way that gets passed on to you. It just doesn't make any sense to me, especially when you can create generation wealth for your family, probably for I'm talking generations, because Anthony Simmons just signed for $100 million. You figure he was going to get at least 140 or 150, unless you're stupid and you blow all that money. Your kids are good, your kids are good. And now you've made a very poor decision based on a very low emotional intelligence reaction, because who knows why, and I'm sure we'll hear the story, but it's not good enough. There's no reason why, unless, like I said, he was defending his life, but I highly doubt that's what happened. And players need to keep themselves in check, not for the sake of because it can set you up financially for the rest of your life, but because you need to understand that you're always in the limelight and you can't hide from this. And whether you're famous or not, keep your damn hands to yourself. Agreed. Gentlemen, that's my rant of the week.
Bro, I agree 100%. I think that's it's a common theme here when it comes to sports. Dumb decisions. Decisions. And I'm sorry, I can't feel bad for you. And we just had a tragedy this past year, and I'm not saying because of the wide receiver for the Raiders. I'm saying for that poor woman and her
Yep.
dog that passed
Yep.
away. That was a tragedy. I care less. And I mean this wholeheartedly. And is that that I forget the receiver's name off the top of my head.
Suggs the third, right? Wasn't it Suggs the third?
Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs. Sorry, Ruggs. Yep.
You are a $15 to $30 million player a year. You have all the money in the world, and you got the world by the balls, as the saying goes. Yeah. And you decide that at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, because your blood alcohol level is at 2.8, which is
ridiculous,
crazy.
Yeah.
For you to get behind the wheel, number one, shame on you.
Yep.
Number two, shame on your friends.
Yep.
Because if you're a true friend, I know if any of you two, if you saw me and I were about to, you would tackle me.
100%.
And punch 100%. Me in the face, knock me out, do something. Yes, it goes against exactly what you just said. But if I'm saving your life, it may be someone else's.
Yep. You're right. You're right. Us tackling you may have saved your life and someone else's life that night. And it's not just about you. It's not just about you in that moment. You got to figure out who are you possibly going to hurt, because you are no way equipped to do what you're trying to do, which is drive home. And you probably, like you said, there's no way we should even consider that the keys are in your hand at any point. And that's it. At some point in the night, if you're a friend and you're seeing that he's not ordering the bottle, he's downing the bottle, those keys need to go. Like,
and the sad part, the sad part about it is it just never clicks with any of these athletes. It never clicks. I'm never going to get pulled over. I'm never going to get caught. They're above the law. No, you're not. Yeah. My wife is a cop.
I think a long time ago, unfortunately, I know the truth. A long time ago, the O.J. Simpson case kind of made you can get away with murder. You can get away with murder. So a lot of pro players figure I can get away with murder because, like I said, people have not been held accountable to multiple crimes that have been committed, not just domestic abuse.
So for something like this, first offense, my opinion, this is worse than PEDs. Mm-hmm. If a player goes ahead and puts his hand on a woman, or vice versa,
or a child,
or whatever, or does something stupid without, obviously TMZ and everybody like that likes to jump the gun. We don't hear the full story, right? Mm-hmm. We don't know if she was trying to stab him. We don't know what was going on, right? We're just reading a headline. So I always step back a little bit now because I used to be the person that jumped down their throat, but I stepped back. But it's for something like what Henry Ruggs did, or Henry Suggs, whatever the hell his name is, I don't care anymore. There's no explanation. When you see the headline of 167 miles an hour, you're an idiot. Especially with all the freaking apps in the world that can take you home.
And NFL teams offer that to you free. It's free for them. And
I get it. It's a fast car.
That's a free service for you. Yep.
And I'm sure if you call your coach saying, look, I am absolutely hammered, and you're not talking like this, your coach is going to be like, stay there. I'll be right there. I'll 100%. Come get you. Or if you called the owner, say you called the owner, the highest on the high.
But you have, I think that culture has to be something that's built. I think a lot of the times the assumption is, but here's the thing, John, the assumption is you're a superhuman because you're a super athlete. Yep, and that can't be the assumption. The humility has to come in from day one of training camp or wherever day one of mandatory practices are, where, gentlemen, here's the code that we live by, X, Y, Z. And that code should include, if you think you're going to make a really dumb decision, these are the numbers to call. General manager, head coach, assistant head coach, team liaison, and you have them all in your phone. So at any time, no player has no excuses. At that meeting, everybody saves every number in there. And nobody walks around without their phone. Nobody leaves home without their phone anymore.
A small percentage of people, yes.
Zero excuse.
And Mike, sorry to cut you off and whatnot, but the biggest thing with this is like everyone criticizes Bill Belichick and how hard-nosed he is. But you know what? He has 6 rings. And yes, we can say it's because of Brady, because Brady had a factor. But a lot of those teams weren't very good. So he played a factor.
They weren't the most talented team.
They weren't the most talented. It wasn't the prettiest teams. But anyways, I mean, just going down to it, it goes back to what we talked about, I think 2 weeks ago, where we talked about with college, making sure that these big time athletes are taking the right classes. And, I kind of disagree with, what we were with what, not going to
But
take
I
advantage.
think, John, I think this more comes from the household you grew up in, more
Agreed.
than somebody can educate you to make good decisions at 19.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we would like to think that you can change a player's perspective, but when you've been allowed to, and you've never had to be accountable for many things, because who knows where some of these guys end up. A lot of it was because they were allowed to make poor decisions in high school. But hey, you the man, bro. You the man. We'll make sure it gets brushed. And so they just create they create a monster, and that's unfortunate.
It is. It really is, and it's sad. I mean, because you and I sit here and look at it because we're blue collar workers. We work every day. Get up at 6 or 7 in the morning. Get up, go to work, come home at 8, 9 o'clock at night. Do it again on Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, Sunday. So it's hard for us to sit here and think. How can't you think? Like, how can't you just think for 5 seconds? Take 5 seconds. And I agree with you. I think they should have some of these former players come in and say, look I was an idiot. I could have been making multi-millions, but I was an idiot.
Yep.
And I put myself in my team. You cannot listen to me and you can walk out this room and say, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Remember, I was top of my game, young man. And
speaking of working on the weekends, I got swimming this weekend with Blue Wave swim team. That's who I coach.
I was about to shout that out.
Some kids qualified for some championship level meets throughout the rest of July. Beautiful pool, North Shore pool over in St. Pete, right down by the pier. View of the water. It's going to be a beautiful time there. Get to watch the sunset. So there's always a perk if you open your eyes to what's around you. And, oh my God, you got to wake up so early. It's beautiful to see the sunrise first thing in the morning. It might not be great to stand on your feet for 7 hours coaching kids or 9 hours on Saturday and Sunday, but you got to appreciate your moments when you get them. Look forward to being there this weekend. So let's go Blue Wave swimming.
Yes, sir. Well, best of luck to your kids, brother, and hopefully your feet aren't killing you too much on Saturdays. But boys, it was a great show. I love it. I always look forward to Thursday nights with you guys, and appreciate everyone that tuned into us. Check us out on Facebook below. Where am I? Over down here, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find and listen to your podcasts. It'd be Cinco Squad Podcast, just so you know, Cinco Squad Pod or Podcast. So we'll see you guys next week. Everyone have a great 4th of July weekend. Be safe. And remember, please be smart. Call someone. Please be smart. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Squad up.
Squad.